We begin today's recording by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are on. I am on Burrawang land. Where are you, Breezer?
I am on the land of the Djajarurrung people.
We pay our respects to the elders past and present and extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who are tuning in today.
And wherever you're listening to the potty today, make sure you know whose land you're on. Join us each week for some booze-free banter about life without booze.
If you're entertaining cutting back your booze by a day, a week, a month, or for the rest of your life, we would love for you to tune in.
Buckle up and come along for a ride that may just change your life. If any of today's conversations have been triggering, please reach out to your local support centre in Australia. That is Lifeline 131114. All right, let's crack a bottle, shall we, Meso?
Let's crack a bottle of Altina. What have you got?
Of Altina, I have got a Kakadu Plum Rosé, which is part of their Liberate collection, which is a newish collection from Altina. What about you, Meso?
Liberation Nation. I've got the Finger Lime Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, Sauvignon Blanc, baby.
Yes,
how nice. How
very
gorgeous.
Nice.
We are in love with Altina, the old Altina, the new Altina, just all of it, aren't we?
As a whole. Just
As a
all
whole.
of Altina. And what have they given us?
They have given our listeners a discount code, which is 15%. The code is BFB10, 15% off all their products. And where do they... Oh, what did I say, Meso?
We've been saying BFB10 for the last 2 seasons.
Yep.
With BFB15, we can wrap it up. No, that's good. We're here for it.
You better say the website because I might butcher that then.
www.altinadrinks.com. So generous of giving us that 15. All our listeners are 15% off. Get amongst it. We love you, Altina.
Get amongst it. Thanks, Altina. Meso!
Breezer!
Wowee. Aren't we like
Wowee.
just blown away? Our heads are blown off our shoulders from the guest that we just had.
You know that emoji with the head blown off?
Yeah.
Put that
Mind blown. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Would you like me to introduce our guest?
Go for it. I'm a bit speechless, to be honest.
And I reckon our listeners would have heard of the name Damien Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
He is an Australian extreme endurance athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But he has the story that sits behind his whole life it's a harrowing story, really, of child abuse, which he speaks openly about. And he has developed and harnessed this amazing mindset, which has then propelled him into this extreme endurance events. The first one he did was an 800-kilometre. Just think of that, guys. Sydney to Melbourne. Would be about 800K?
Yeah.
So he actually solo paddled 800 kilometres from the Gold Coast to Bondi in the ocean on his own. Absolutely incredible. Just cannot get my head around it. Some of the other feats he has accomplished is this year he did a 480 paddle across, it was the Maldives, which had never been done before. Another incredible feat. He has broken multiple world records and achieved several world first events. He's an author as well. Throw an author in. He's authored books. He's a film producer and he's a highly sought after speaker and a life coach to celebrities. Incredible. But we first stumbled across him through Yes You Can, didn't we, Meso?
Yes, because he had this, what was his hot air balloon? So
climbed up a hot air balloon
without a parachute.
It was 10,000 feet. At this point,
the parachute was on top of that hot air balloon, and he had to then put the parachute on and then skydive off the hot air balloon. Major sponsor, and their incredible marketing. Yes, You Can was in the picture. So I was like, hang on a minute, we've got ourselves a moderator or a non-drinker. What's happening there? And so this beautiful little as social media does, little relationship started between us all. And we invited him to potty and he was so gracious to come on board and talk to us about it and blew our sweet little mind. He's also done TED Talks as well. Also for our YouTube watchers, you can see there's skateboards at the back of his wall behind him. And those are the skateboards that he skated across Route 66.
I can't forget that one.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
And the list goes on and on. And he's just got still so much more on the way. And he really surprised us. He was so funny, so raw, just has an incredible mindset, the way that he goes about things. It's got the lot. We will also remind you that there is content warnings and there is discussions about suicide attempts that he does go into a little bit of detail with, and also, child abuse and domestic abuse. So if that's not your bag, maybe skip your step.
He's extremely passionate about preventing child abuse. And he openly talks about how destructive his relationship with alcohol and drugs was in his younger years, I would say.
Correct. And how insightful is he, though, to just go, no, I don't like that anymore. I'm not doing that. And he talks
so much out of this chat.
So did I. Talks about it being, we're forced. We've got this sort of force.
And the pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
Ourselves.
But it's actually just a choice. And I love that. He's actually just flipped our whole narrative that we've been talking about. If sobriety is easy, everyone would be doing it. But we're sacking that. Sobriety is easy.
Sobriety is easy. You heard it first. He's got some cracking, you'll hear at the end of the potty, he's got some cracking advice. We asked him what advice would he give to our listeners who are perhaps trying to improve their relationship with alcohol. So he's got some he's got a wealth of knowledge, and I feel like it was only the tip of the iceberg, Meso, because we could have talked to him for I wanted a life coaching session with him.
I'm signed up.
I'm signed up. Yeah, it's just an incredible human, really.
Really.
And helping so many others, which I love. And really, I feel really honoured to have, I know you do too, Meso, to have had his time and to, speak to him today.
100%. Oh, thank you so much, Damien Ryder. Here he is.
Let's get amongst it with Damien Ryder.
A big, warm, booze-free buddies. Welcome to Damien Ryder. Welcome, Damien, to the podcast.
Hey, girls. How you going?
Hi. So good. Damien, you've heard the potty, so we're just going to throw you straight in the deep end. We've got the option of a shame story or a confession session. So we want you to tell us something that you've done that was wild, either a bit lighthearted confession-y or pretty shameful on the booze.
Confession session, it's time to play. Will you tell us what you
my life's pretty wild anyway without the booze.
Yeah, correct.
It is.
So, well, there's definitely been times where I've been on the booze, say in my earlier days, and just super reckless, no care of anything or even thinking about, the next morning, the next day, the next week, no future whatsoever sort of thing. So I don't know, just, I'm pretty wild anyway. So it just adds to that even more, really. I'll be up dancing on tables and stuff and things I would not normally do, like if I'm usually a little bit composed enough. But, look, I think just, if there was 3 words, it'd just be like reckless, unfocused, and self-unmanaged, I guess.
Oh, I like that. Self-unmanaged.
Self-unmanaged is goody.
Well, that's a good little segue. So they're the 3 words to describe yourself on the booze and 3 words to describe yourself off it.
Off it, I'm focused, driven, and I guess more respectful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I can relate to that. Heck. Yeah, that's a great one. They're great words.
They are crackers.
And so polar opposite from your 3 words.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you have a particular move on that table? Did you have a signature dance move?
You know what? I do like to move my body, but I don't know what happens when I'm on the booze. It kind of just takes over.
Lucy,
I think because I'm older now, you just I don't know when it is, but I think you just automatically go into this dad dance for some reason, like this older person dance. I don't know what happens. I don't know when the universe goes, all right, okay, we're changing your dance style to this now, and you're speaking differently like this now, and
oh, God.
I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day, and it's just where it comes to that point where you go, you know what, walking down the beach is nice, or instead of running somewhere, or and dancing and how you speak, I find myself talking more Australian, let's say, more ochre, the older I get. I kind of reverse back to and I just remember all the old boys, like when I was younger growing up, going, listen to those dudes talking. That's how I talk now.
Love it.
I
love
can't sometimes understand. I can't keep up with the lingo or the abbreviations. I have to Google them.
Same.
Before I actually go on to the next question, Damien, I just wanted to share my signature dance move on the piss. It's called the slut drop.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
You
Show
go
us.
down, spread your legs, and then touch the ground, and jump back up.
Nah.
Yeah, so
Nice.
that only used to come out again when I had a skin full of piss, but not drinking. My dance moves are much more respectable. So, Damien, you popped on our radar through our friends from Yes You Can.
Yeah, legend guys.
Yeah, absolute guns.
Yeah.
So they obviously were one of your sponsors, which is awesome.
Mhm.
So we did a deep dive, as you do, onto your social media and discovered that you are a moderator with your drinking. Would you say that would be true at this point?
Sure, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's times that I've gone, like 2 years without having any drink at all. And, then other times I've, maybe have like a few a year or just, Christmas time or something like that. But I mean, it was such a part of my life, like growing up, even from the age of like 13, here in Adelaide. And, I guess I looked a bit older and I used to pop my jaw out a little bit to try and walk in the bottle shop to get more alcohol,
Yeah.
And I was always the one that had to go and do it. So I was always, we just always drink, and then it just became like a major part of my life and I guess how I was trying to deal with things as well. And, but yeah, to be able to stop that and now, let's say, have complete control over it. Like, I don't mind having a drink, but I'll only drink like good whiskey and that's it.
Top shelf.
Like, say a Macallan 12 or something like that, where you only really need a couple of them anyway. But it's not like I go out on the piss. If I go out, usually I don't drink and I prefer not to, just so I can see what's going on around. I stay a little bit more composed. I'm pretty happy and confident within myself anyway, that I don't need to. And I think that was like a big turning point for me of, listening to everyone around saying, I need a few drinks before I can go and talk to that girl, or I need a few drinks before I can go and dance. And I was thinking, well, why do you? Why can't you just go and do it? It's still you doing it. Like, what's the difference? Why do you need to drink to be able to do that if that's you and that's what you want to do anyway? So I kind of forced myself into that to go, look, I just won't drink and I'll just go and have a good time, because that's me having a good time, a little bit more normalized anyway, and I'm a little bit in more control over it. And so I think that was a big turning point for me. But then, and I'll only have a drink now if I know I've got nothing coming up for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
But if I know I've got things going on, there's no way. And it's not like I need to fight against it at all. I just don't, because I'm more focused on what I'm doing. I have more, a stronger direction of why not to drink, I guess, and why it's going to slow me down. And I don't need to be slowed down. I need to speed up with everything that I've got going on. I need a little bit more time in the day. I can't be like walking around foggy for the first 3 hours in the morning. I need to be on the ball up, 5 a.m. I'm on it, cruising around, doing stuff, So, yeah, I mean, after a big event, I'll usually have, a few whiskeys, pizza, sort of chill out, and just let my body start to recover. And I know I've got nothing going on for the next few days, but then after that, then it's just no drinking. I'm just on it. And like I said, I don't force myself at all. Like, everything's without force. And I think that's the biggest problem with most people when they're trying to stop drinking, is they think it's such a hard task to do, instead of just looking at it in a way of, well, if I don't, I benefit this way. Instead of, if I drink, then I'm this, and like looking at it in the negative side of things, just kind of look at the more of the positive side of things of why not to, and just focus on those things, without trying to fight against yourself. And another funny thing was because everyone, like when I moved to the Gold Coast, it's a big drinking community around the surf community as well. And I was always out partying and that. And then when I'd stopped, I'd gone back there. and people were like, "Are you going to have a drink?" "No, I'm okay." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'll get you one." "No, I'm all right." But I didn't feel like I needed to explain, "Hey, look, I turn into a fuckwit when I get drunk and I've got shit to do." Like, I don't need to explain that. I just was just like, "No, I don't want one." And that's kind of all it is. Like, I took that pressure off really early in the stages of it. And now if I go there and have a drink, or if I go, everyone's like, "Fuck, get out your phone." Damien Ryder's having a drink. Like, this is like, everyone, he's having a drink. Like, it's flipped the other way. Now it's like weird if I have one.
Yeah. Did you get pushed back though? Did you get pushed back when you said no, when you first went back up to the coast and all your party mates were saying have a drink, and then you're like, no? Did people go, "Come on, what's wrong with you?" Or what was that? Was there any pushback?
Yeah, of course. Like, most people don't understand it, I guess. But at the same time, because I just put no pressure on myself, I don't feel like I need to explain. Like, I've got a lot of people, I've got nothing against AA and all that sort of stuff, like whatever helps with everyone. But, I've got mates who have gone through it, and, within the first minute, they'll say, "Oh, hey, I'm 15 years sobriety and I can't have a drink." And I'm like, no one even fucking asked.
And like, no one actually cares. No one
cares. Like, just say you don't fucking want to drink. You don't have to give this whole big spiel of why you don't want to. So in that instance, that's always their identity. And I can see they struggle with it all the time. They've got to explain, because last time I did, I turned into a fuckwit and, and I lost my wife and blah, blah, blah. And like, mate, no one gives a shit. If you don't want to drink, don't have a drink. That was 17 years ago. Like, don't have that as your identity. Just take the pressure off. You don't want to drink, don't fucking drink. There's no big deal about it. And like, especially these days, like you said, there's the guys from Yes You Can. There's so many alternatives anyway, that it's not a pressure on anyone to drink or not drink. That whole Aussie culture of you've got to drink and everything, I didn't understand that as well. Like, looking at it all, that, you go to a barbecue, you have to drink. You have a birthday, you have to drink. You have Christmas, you have to drink. Like, it was just forced upon everyone that, hey, this is the normal, you have to drink. But I'm kind of a little bit more against the grain and a little bit more against, let's say government marketing, to go, hey, this isn't going to control me. I'll do shit my way. If I want to drink, I'll drink. I'm not drinking because you tell me I have to drink on this day, or I'm not going to have a good day. So just sort of have more control of yourself and what you want to do, I think, is a big thing.
Okay, so that's the podcast over. Done.
Can we just make some more Damien Ryders in the world, please?
Best speech, love that. And hallelujah, really. And I thought I've got out of that. You're not forced, you're making a choice.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love what you're saying. Like, you've just got more time. Like, Breezer always talks about eating up the day. When you remove alcohol, because alcohol, as Booze Free Dad says, is a handbrake, you've got more time in the day as well. And I also love what you said about, we're always like, oh, we can't do that, can't get on the dance floor, can't talk to that chick unless we've got a skinful. But I remember being at a festival not long ago and watching these little kids dance. Kids are just so innocent and having fun. At which point did we decide that we needed to pour booze on that to dance, or getting back to that playful kid again and get a child to get out and get amongst it? And we don't need alcohol to do that. And I love how you've just gone, no, I can't do that. Like, I love how you go against the grain and challenge the status quo. Love that. Yeah. Wow, Damien. Wow. So, Gold Coast video, the rise of Damien Ryder in your bio. We're going to get a little bit deep and heavy here. So,
cool.
For folks that this may be a little bit content warning, because we'll be talking about child abuse and suicide attempts if you're comfortable talking about it. But if listeners want to tune out, skip this little bit. So, your mother's partner and the violence that went on, we can't even imagine how horrific that was. Can you take us back to that time, what it looked and felt like, and was alcohol prevalent in that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's funny is I'm now living probably, about 1.5 km from where it all happened. Like, the jetty that's on the cover of Heart of the Sea is literally 50 meters from my front door. So I've come back here after 30 years to where it all is. And it's quite interesting for me, like walking around and, looking at, the rock caves have changed, obviously. The rocks have moved over the years, but, finding little rock caves and just going, oh, yeah, that would have been a good place for me to hide out in. And, when I was 6 and 7, I could have probably squeezed into there. And so it's interesting, like, just thinking about how my emotions were back then to how they are now, I guess sort of reliving those things, but with a complete, there's no negative emotional attachment whatsoever. Like, I don't think, oh my God, this was so bad, like, all I just think is, oh yeah, well, that's cool. That's why I learned to do my breath work and learn about the ocean, connection to myself and everything, this is what kind of built me along. But yeah, look, there was definitely fuel. It was all fueled by alcohol back in those days, the violence was, and things would turn very quickly, because of that in the household. Sometimes there'd be like a laughter in the house, and then the next minute, my mum's getting thrown against the wall and smashed apart and blood's everywhere. We're screaming, trying to hide under bed, running outside naked, like hiding in these rock caves, and then in winter here in Adelaide, it gets pretty cold. So the rocks, I remember, were that cold. It was like they were burning my skin. I was sitting in there, and just shivering, and I remember just screaming, sometimes just screaming so loud that nothing was actually coming out, like just like, so high pitched screaming with everything that there was actually no noise that was coming out at the time. But at the same time, that's why I learned to do all my breath work and everything to try and regulate my body temperature. And I didn't know it was a thing back in those days. I'm 6 and 7, just like figure this is what I've got to do, like I can't just keep sitting here screaming. And plus I didn't want to get found. I didn't want this person to come down to the rocks and find me. So I'd have to that's why I started just listening to the ocean and just listening to myself and just breathing and trying to keep myself warm through my breath. And just focus back on that so I could try and get rid of all the let's say the broken record that kept on playing around in my head, of the voices, the screams, the thuds, and the visualization that was happening back at home. But at the same time, this went on for years. I just didn't know whether, it was if I was going to live that day or die that day when I went home, how were things? So I was very quickly programmed that today could be my last day, and I never looked anywhere into the future. I always knew that I had more in me because I was pretty athletic, like naturally, and I always knew there was something there, but, I just couldn't see past living past that day, really, So it was, it was a tough time for, me and my whole family at that time. And we've all dealt with it in our different ways, I guess. And, it probably took me a little bit longer. I stayed pretty wild on the thing, not violent, but, very reckless and living like today was my last day, and just make sure I drink all the booze that's in the booze shop, all of it, until I run out of money. Do I catch a bus home from Surfers Paradise, or do I get another drink? I get another drink, and hitchhike home or something, so it's kind of always like that. And
was that self-medicating, Damien?
Yeah, I guess so. Really, you could say it's self-medicating. I guess that's like the generic thing to say about it. But, there's probably, there's a lot more to it. It's more like I said, just today's my last day. And I guess there was times that it was like very purposely self-destructive of, I hope today's my last day. Yeah, let's just fucking go out with a bang. Let's just do everything. Let's take everything we can. So if today's my last day, at least I'm going out fucking going wild and, having a good time. It was kind of, now I wake up in the morning and go, wake up. We got another day. So better get drinking again, But at the same time, like I was like a functioning alcoholic and drug addict, really, like I'd still surf all day, 9 hours a day. I'd still try and run little businesses here and there, clothing labels and this and that. So I was still kind of doing things. So, I really always had that devil angel on the shoulder, one saying, today's your last day, just fucking destroy yourself. And then the other one just going, hey, you know, you've got more to do in life, and, you know, you got through the rocks and stuff. So, you know, let's start looking a little bit into the future. But yeah, Devil was always a little bit louder voice. So I'd always go with him. But, you know, and even when I was traveling around the world, you know, I would go to these amazing places like Chamonix in the French Alps and everything, and I'd just ruin those times because I'd just be, even though it's snowboard all day, I'd just be drunk all the time as well. So I'd kind of just ruin my time whenever I travel to these amazing places. And I just thought, you know, I'm sort of wasting my life doing this, and all those things stacking up helped me to change, I guess.
So you mentioned earlier, sorry, mate, so about a turning point. Can you pinpoint a moment where there was a turning point where you're like, I don't want to live like this anymore, I want to stop drinking? Or did it sort of happen over a period of time?
Well, there was voices in my head telling me, hey, you know, you got to stop doing this, you know, you got to have a better life. And then at 22, actually, I had a mild heart attack when I was out in the surf just from having too much stuff. And that was obviously a really big turning point for me, and I started getting into fitness and everything then more so. And then, but I dived back into it as well, you know, 23, 25, you know, leading up and yeah, I mean, it still stayed a major part of my life, major control over my life. And yeah, like I said, I was just, you know, I was succeeding on things, but still living self-destructive as well. And even when I was in Melbourne, you know, that was probably like, you know, the times I was drinking a bit more wild than any other time in my life. And it was just kind of, you know, fitting in with people. And I'm like, I kind of got like, I guess I've got an addictive personality. Like I didn't just have a drink. If I'm drinking, I'm getting fucking drunk.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, I didn't see the point of just going to have one beer. Like I would have, you know, I wouldn't go and have one beer. I'd have none, or I'd be on the ground.
Yep.
And that's
You're talking to us. You're talking to us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
we're your people.
and that's how, I mean, my life's extreme, and it's still extreme now, you know, but you know, I've just been able to utilize what I do naturally as an extreme person to benefit me, I guess, you know, to still have those traits, but just be able to swing those things around of who I am naturally. You know, it's, you know, people are who they are, and I can either fight against it or I can just roll with it.
Yeah, you're channeling that addictive, getting that fix from the extreme sports you're doing rather than getting sideways.
Yeah, I guess it's like that, but I mean, I've always been like that. I've always been extreme, you know, and whether it's from what I experience at home or not, you know, no one will ever know that answer. But, you know, same as I was, well, I've just been able to turn that around and go, okay, well, this is what I naturally do anyway. I'm naturally, you know, extreme and go full on with everything I do, whether it's business or personal life or as an athlete or whatever. So instead of fighting against that, listening to everyone else saying, you got to be balanced, you got to have like a structure here and there, I'll just go, fuck that. You do that. Yeah, you go and do that, because I've tried that. That don't work. That makes me drink more because I get so fucking bored with life. So I'll just do shit my way. And that's it, you know.
It was so funny. I was writing my gratitude list a little while ago saying, oh, I'm just such an extremist one way or the other, and trying to have this balance. But I feel like balance is so beige. Like I feel like it's a bit beige. So it's really, I find it really difficult in this sobriety scene that everything is sort of balanced and just really calm. I've missed those really big extremes. So yeah, sniffing around for some sort of extreme.
I've got plenty of events you can do.
The School of Damien Ryder and extremists. Look out, I'll be bouncing off a hot air balloon next week.
Can we talk about your mindset? Because I'm fascinated by it, Damien. And I suppose if you were to look at a silver lining, I suppose, at your time in the rock caves, it could be that you have developed that mindset from that, essentially, a survival skills when you're in the rock caves. Can you give us an example of when you're out paddling, okay, and you want to quit? You've had enough. You've been, you know, bitten by bees. You've been circled by sharks. What's going on in your mind at that moment? Why aren't you quitting?
Look, I don't quit because I say I'm going to do something, I go and do it.
Man,
I'm honest with other people and I'm honest with myself as well, and go, hey, I train up and I go and do it. I know. So events, let's say the Maldives one that I've just done, the 480-kilometer paddle there over the 9 days. Now, though it was tough, I was talking to someone yesterday, but it wasn't a challenge. Like, even though no one else in the world's ever done it before, and I was paddling for, 13 hours every day and crazy hot sun, my feet are swelling up. I'm dizzy the whole time. My body's aching the whole time. I'm tired. It's, there's a lot of shit that's going on. There's currents, there's everything that's happening. But at the same time, like, it wasn't a challenge for me. I don't know what will challenge me anymore, just because of the way I look at things. Like, I look at things more logical now, where I knew my feet were going to swell up. I knew it was going to be hot. I knew I was going to be dizzy. So when they come up, I didn't go, oh my God, how do I deal with this? I'm already there dealing with it. I already know that's coming up. And even when, like, my feet swelled up like ridiculous. So imagine just standing in one place for 11 hours. You can't move off that one, say, thing. Your feet are just there for 11 hours every single day. Now the sun, it's completely different there. Like, my insides were bubbling away. Like, I've never experienced anything. It's not like it's hotter, but there's just something about it. I mean, it's right on the equator. Heat's coming off the water. It's coming down from the top, and my insides were like bubbling away. So it made my feet just swell up even more. And they were full like elephantitis feet. Crazy. And my crew were like, and this is even after like day 2, and my crew were like, what are you going to do? You got to go to a doctor. And I'm like, well, what's a doctor going to say? Stop paddling. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. They're like, what are you going to do? Well, I'll just so I ended up cutting the sleeves off this compression top and just put them over my feet. And they go, oh, is that going to help? I say, well, it'll help because when I look down, I won't see them. And I'm like, so out of sight, out of mind. I said, I've only got a week to go. If they fall off, they fall off. But I just keep on paddling.
Wow.
So for me, I don't overthink those things. I say I'm going to do something and I just go and do it. So it's not like I build my mindset. I just cruise along and I keep myself occupied in the water. Like, I don't have negative talk to myself at all anymore. And on any of these events, I just go, oh, there's a little wave, or there's a fish, or there's a something, like, here's me paddling here. Oh, look at me. I'm in the middle of an ocean in the Maldives. How do I get here? Oh, keep paddling, like, or sit down for a bit, have like a little like chocolate bar or something, and just look around and go, how amazing is this? Here I am. We're just on this little board. Like, say if the support boat had taken off, and usually because they were like Maldivian, they couldn't be fuck hanging around.
Yeah.
They would just go fishing or go to a local island and drink like Mai Tais all day, and then come back and try and find me.
Try and find you on the ocean.
Yeah, so I'd be like stuck in the middle of the ocean with nothing around, just going, oh yeah. But there's 2 ways you can look at it and go, holy shit, what if something happens to me? Or the other way is how I looked at it was, how incredible is this? I'm the only person to be able to just sit here on this little board in the middle of this ocean, like paddling along. And yeah, this is cool. I guess they'll find me or end up in Somalia. Either way, it's going to be an adventure.
By some pirates. But
yeah.
have you ever had that negative talk? Like, because you seem just so positive.
I'm not positive about everything, but I am able to make any situation benefit me. So in that aspect, everything always goes to plan. So we always have changes in everything in life.
Yeah.
And, people go, oh, you got a positive outlook. I'm like, I don't have a positive outlook, but, I know things don't always go to plan, but when they do change, I just see how that benefits me. So for instance,
like that.
Because there's a lot of things that you can't control in life at all. So when I was training for the paddle, I'd be training with this other guy, and he'd be like, oh, we've got headwinds, how's that going to be? I'm like, oh, it's perfect. Like, we get to train a little bit harder. We've got more resistance with the wind and the waves coming at us. Yeah, it's going to be great fun. And then, you know, a couple of days later, we're like, oh, we got tailwinds. How's that going to be? Oh, that's perfect. You know, we got like, it can like throw us along very quickly, and we can paddle. We can get that speed up, and we can start paddling quicker, so we get our body moving faster. And then a few days later, we'll be like, oh, there's no wind. It's totally flat. Oh, I love when it's no wind at all. You know, we just glide across the water. So there's always a way just to be able to swing it around, because we can't control those things, you know, and there's a lot of things in life that we can't control either. So we just work with it, with what we've got.
That's awesome advice. I'm just thinking, as a parent, when my kids are complaining, I can, you know, turn it around.
Yeah. So, and so for me, everything always goes to plan.
Yeah, love that, because I feel like you're trusting what is meant for you. That's my little thing at the moment. I'm trusting the universe is sending me and guiding me the way that it needs to go, even though in my head it might not be the way I want it to go. Got to trust it, because that's the way that it's meant to be.
Yeah, the more you fight against something that you can't control, then the harder life's going to be. You know, and that's like even people who screw you over, you know, in business, they're always going to do that. They're always going to pop up. Business isn't going to always be smooth sailing, you know, but as long as you know that shit's going to happen that you don't want it to, then you're already ready for it. Now, you know, at our age, we've been through everything in life. There's nothing that's going to come up ahead that we haven't already gone through. So when it comes up, but most people act like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Oh, this is you're like, it's happened like 100 times in your life. You got through it. Just what did you do? Don't carry on like a fucking idiot. Just go, hey, I got through it last time. What did I do? Okay, let's see if that works this time.
Love that.
Instead of playing
love that. Instead of playing the victim, you're open for the lessons, because how you handled it last time, tackle it differently this time.
Yeah, exactly. Or use the same tools that got through you last time.
Yeah,
you know? But you know that things are always going to come up. And for me, I guess I learned that on my events, because let's say the first paddle, the 800-kilometer paddle, you know, I'm getting sharks and everything like circling me, knocking off my board. There's like crazy amounts of jellyfish. I'm stuck underneath my board, unconscious, you know, like we're talking like every 5 minutes something was coming up. So I can't pack up those ideas and go, shit, I can't think about what happened before, because in 5 minutes something else is going to happen that's going to be super extreme. And then I was just like, all right, well, things are going to come up, just keep dealing with them, just keep moving forward. I've got two choices to go, all right, this is too much, and stop. Or just go, right, how do I deal with this and keep on going, you know, in a calm way.
Do you get a little kick when you get through those little moments and went, oh, phew, just got through the jellyfish, little pat on the back for Damo. What, come at me, sharks?
I guess sort of. I mean, probably back then, like not now, I guess, you know, for me, you know, I don't hang around on my events. I just get the shit done. That's it. You know, I'm like,
no fuss.
Yeah, I just get the shit done as quick as I can. And that's it. You know, like they're long enough, these events, you know, 9 days out in the water paddling is, you know, that's fucking long enough. Like I don't want to drag shit out. I, you know, set myself a goal. My goal is to go from point A to point B. And I just want to get it done. I don't go, oh, it's all about the journey. Fuck the journey. Just get the shit done. You know, everyone's like, oh, it's all about the journey. You got to take your time with things in life. No. That's why you're sitting around doing fucking nothing, because you're just hanging out waiting for the universe to do shit for you. Just go and do it. Go and get it done. Stop procrastinating and go and do it.
I feel like you're not a procrastinator, Damien, at all. And you're not indecisive. You just make a decision, go and do it, done.
Pull it a gate.
Like a style.
I didn't know this was going to be so funny. All right. Right. So we've paddled 800 Ks. So back to alcohol. What are your thoughts on it now? And I mean, you kind of touched on it before, but, you know, what are the other key factors that have shaped your healthy relationship with alcohol now? You've kind of touched on it, but as a whole, tell the audience what's your thoughts on alcohol?
Look, like I stopped drinking without even like forcing it to stop drinking, because I used to like drinking beer, and I used to love like fucking dirty Carlton or a West End Draft or something like filthy, you know, like out of the tap, just, you know, give me the worst beer, you know, in a pint glass, and I'm down in that. And then for some reason, I just decided I don't like beer. And I didn't even it's not like a thing I told myself. I just had one day and went, oh, that just tastes like shit. I can't drink that. And then I just couldn't drink beer. And I thought, fuck, what am I going to drink? So I'll drink red wine. All right, cool. I'll drink red wine. And I drink like a bit of that. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I don't like drinking red wine. And now I'm like, those two things, I could not even go to a pub and have a beer at all. Like, it's not even in my mind. And I think, oh, yuck. And I can't even have a red wine either. Like, that's just gone out of my system. So now I just drink good whiskey. But not much of it. But when I do, like, you know, usually it's at home. And if I do it, like I said, if I've got like a few days that I know that I don't have anything really going on, or I don't really need to focus and concentrate, then I might have a few whiskeys at home and get creative as well, you know, and just start doing some writing or doing some art, or, you know, designing some things here and there. And I kind of use it more as a little tool until I've had about 4, and I'm like, I can't do shit now. I'm like, this is not done. But, you know, at the same time, like, I've created a pretty good business as well, being drunk. Like, I created a skincare company, and I created a breast enhancing cream. And the whole time I was just drunk. You know, that's how I created it. I was like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Let's just drink. Oh, yeah, I'll do it. And I'm like messaging all these labs all over the world and everything. And I'm like, my mate's like, yeah, you're up to like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, was I? Look at the emails thinking that does not even make any sense. What I've just
how was the research on the breast enhancement cream?
Good. I put it out on market. It was good. It's a good product, actually. But I do things that I think is funny as well, you know, like, obviously I don't look like I have a skincare company, but it was quite funny in Melbourne. So I used to drive a pretty good car down there, and police would pull me over sometimes, and I must have thought I was stolen or a bikie or something like that. And they go, oh, you know, how did you afford the car? And I go, skincare, mate, skincare. They go, fuck, we didn't expect that at all. Like, you can go, no worries. Here's a sample for your wife, you know.
What was the skincare?
Love it.
It's called Ryder Cosmeceuticals.
Oh, we're straight into that. And that breast enhancement stuff? What's that?
Ryder Breast Enhancer.
Straight on top of that.
But yeah, I mean, it worked really well. And so that came about because I was training a lot of women at the time, and they're like, hey, look, you know, you've got my body in great shape. Now I've lost my boobs. Like, is there something you can do? And I was just like, surely there is. You know, guys have like creatine and for water retention and make them look a bit bigger and puffier. And so I just started researching that. It took me a couple of years, and I put it out, and it did really well. And then, but you know, at the same time, I was at a shit place in my life, and there was too much money that was coming in, and I ended up just, you know, as quick as it was coming in, it was going into my belly or up my nose and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, and that's when I had a couple of attempts on my life as well. And then I thought, yeah, shit, things got to change here. And then I just went back and started all over again to drop the business. And that's why I started training for the paddle and ended up doing the paddle. And then I thought I would go back to it after the paddle, but because the paddle changed my life so much, I just stayed on course of what I was doing now.
Amazing.
You've touched on the attempts on your life, Damien. Do you want to unpack a little bit more on that?
Sure. Look, I say I've had like 4 major attempts, like real good goes at it. But in actual fact, it's probably more. It's probably a lot more. You know, just let's say times of snowboarding and just going reckless and try and double backflips off a cliff or something, and just hoping that, you know, I'm either going to pull it off or I'm going to fucking check out. You know, either way, it's going to be fine with me. So I guess there was
that as a deliberate attempt to try and butcher it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like just I guess I looked at it as win-win. You know,
right? Yeah.
I'm either going to pull off this trick, or I'm not. And I'm not going to ever know about it ever again. You know, so I guess there was like a few moments like that. but the first attempt, I guess I was 19 in this car, and I was in this car and shit was going on in my head, and we're driving about 80 kilometers an hour. I just jumped out of the car basically. And you know, it was funny because I jumped out and I like rolled along, and I remember like rolling along and hear there's other people in the car and they're screaming. And so it was just kind of out of the blue, I guess. And all I got was like a little scratch on my finger, and that was it. Like nothing had all happened to me. And I was like, oh, that's weird.
That's weird.
And, but yeah, I mean, I've had a few more after that. Then the last one, I tried to gas myself. That's when I was in Melbourne, just before I moved back to the Gold Coast. And yeah, I was found probably, I don't know, maybe seconds before lights out completely, like I was gone. And I was throwing up all gasoline type of thing and everything in my mouth. And but then as soon as I got pulled out of the car, a voice rang into my head, which was actually from my ex-wife. She said this thing to me one day. She goes, just sort your own fucking shit out yourself. And that rang in my head. And I was like, you know what? I've got to sort my own fucking shit out myself.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So I just started to think about, when was I the most happiest, most peace, and, what was a good time in my life? And I was back on the Gold Coast surfing along the waves and everything. So that's what I did. I just left that next morning and packed my car and drove back to the Gold Coast and just started back in the ocean again, surfing. And I thought, look, there's something here. And why does everyone always talk about the ocean so healing? Mm-hmm. Like, what actually is it? No one actually explains it. So I ended up coming in that day, and I went to a local surf club at Rainbow Bay and grabbed a paddleboard and just thought, I'm going to engulf myself in this and see what it is. So I just paddled about 2 kilometers straight out to sea, and I was feeling obviously very vulnerable. I'd never done anything like that in the ocean before, and I knew that there was something special that was happening to me, even with the physical pain, the emotional pain of my past was coming forward, but I didn't have a way of distracting it because I was out in the ocean like that. And so, yeah, that's how it all started for me. And I went home that day and looked at world records of paddleboarding and just started that next day, started paddleboarding and started training for it. And 8 months later, I set off, walked down to my local beach, put the board in the water, just started paddling.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, what an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that and unpacking that and your vulnerability to go deep with us there.
No worries.
Yeah.
What a story. And talking about the ocean, it's something that not on your level, not stand-up paddleboarding for 800 Ks, but it's definitely going in the water every day. And Breezy, you did as well. I think you brought it to my radar after you read Wim Hof, and another friend of ours walks into the bay as well. And just the support of the water around your body, duck diving in the water and feeling that water from head to toe. I mean, you're on top of it. But the ocean, the water, like, it's so supportive, and that duck diving from washing the stresses from head to toe. There's just something so healing and powerful in that, isn't there? And, it's a really special place.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is for sure. It's never really been described, and I understand it more because I've spent a lot of time in the water and I free dive and stuff as well. So I understand it more so. I don't know why other therapists don't explain it in simple form to be able to utilize it outside of the water. So, we all hear, catch surfing is good for PTSD and everything. It was a big thing a couple of years ago, but that's all they say about it. They don't actually explain why. So if they don't explain why, then you don't know how to use that tool outside of the water. That's kind of like your vice to go there, and then you still got to deal with your shit on the land as well. But look, the way I see it in a simple form is when you're paddling for a wave and you're up on a wave, you can't think about anything else except catching that wave. So basically, it just isolates everything down, so you don't need to think about anything else, So that's it just stops things. Excuse me. it just stops all the other noise in your head. But there's so many other ways you can do it. Like even people watching, sitting at a cafe makes you feel good because you're desensitizing yourself. The emotions start coming out while there's new information coming in, and there's a lot of movement in the water, and it's why we feel more calmer when we're at the beach when it's stormier rather than when it's cold. When it's just calm, if it's calm and the water's flat, you're kind of in your head a little bit more. But if it's stormier, there's so much activity and so much movement that's going on. And the more that you can open yourself up to it and see what's going on by allowing your eyes to move around, actually doing a therapy called EMDR therapy, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing. So, and that just works on rapid eye movement, just moving around, and it's taking in so much information, more information that we can compute in our own head, but it allows it to flow in while our emotions flow out. So we're not actually stopping it. They just come out. So we just have like that little changeover, and that's what we need to do. Just open ourselves up a little bit more. And the more you open yourself up outside of that tunnel vision, and it's easier to do in the ocean because, as I said, it's an isolated situation that you're dealing with there. Then you can look at like the colors, the shades, the shapes, everything, how the light's hitting it, really open up. And then once you start to do that in an isolated situation, then you can do it outside, so you start looking in the world in a new perspective as well every single time. It's not just this is the situation that's going on, it's like here's the situation that's going on. But it also makes you feel like a lot smaller, so people will say they're living in a tunnel vision. The tunnel's here, and like your problems say this big, say 5% of the tunnel. But if you open up, look how big your problems are. They're fucking nothing compared to what's going on, So most people, and how I was living my life is, what I was seeing behind in the tunnel was what was casting the shadow forward in my tunnel.
Yeah.
But when I opened up and had a really good look at what actually happened in my past, then it opened up my future to be able to see more, further than the day. So after the paddle, obviously, I had a lot of time to dissect my whole life. 15 hours a day I was paddling by myself, not being able to talk to anyone. So I was really being able to dissect my life and look at the good things and the achievements that I'd done in my life myself up until that date, but I just hadn't stopped to appreciate and go, oh, shit, I've actually done some cool shit. All right, that means I can do some cool shit ahead. And, hey, now I've just, done something that everyone said is impossible. Yeah. Two things, there was two things that happened on that paddle that people were saying were impossible. One is to do the paddle. Everyone said it's impossible. You can't do it, or you're not going to survive it. Seasoned paddleboarders can't do it, so how can you do it? Because you're not even a paddleboarder. And then two, I healed myself of PTSD, which, again, all the therapists have said it's impossible to do. All you can do is learn to manage it, but you got to live with it for the rest of your life. When I come onto that beach in Bondi, I couldn't even fucking search for any visuals or any negative emotions of my past whatsoever. I had to try and my hardest to find them. They're just gone. I didn't block them at all. They just desensitized and just flowed out. I allowed myself to really have a good look at my whole life and every single person and every conversation I'd ever had in my life, and just pull it apart. And it was just going back again on situations until it was just completely pulled apart and all it's segmented and just gone and dissipated out of my life, and just being able to capture everything that was positive in my life and how that situation had benefited me. And I go, oh, that's cool. Now that's what is in my subconscious now, and that's what I draw on. I don't draw on the shit things in life. I draw on all the cool things that I've done and all the achievements that I've been able to do in my life. For me to go into another event, that's what I go to. My nervous system and everything goes to the excitement. It doesn't go to an anxiety, even though they're very similar feelings. So when it goes from bottom up, let's say your nervous system goes on your subconscious, on your conscious mind and your conscious actions, and usually it'll go, oh, shit, okay, and draw on every time that you've been anxious or panicked or scared in your life, you'll start drawing on all of those things through this Rolodex and throw into your conscious actions. But for me, I just capture that straight away and go, no, that's not how I am. So I go from top down and consciously tell my subconscious, no, you're in the wrong file. Fucking get the cool shit. And then that's what changes my nervous system as well. My nervous system goes, all right, all the cool shit. How did we breathe in that time? Okay, yeah, that's how we're breathing. Okay, cool. I understand this now. So for me, I don't have those things at all because I've just been able to reprogram, that say what's dominant in my subconscious for my conscious actions. So everything, I've no doubt I can do anything at all because I've done so much. I never have any self-doubt, and I never take on any attachment or emotions for other people's opinions as well, which is hard for a lot of people. Most people don't trust themselves. They listen too much to other people.
Yeah.
We have no doubt you can do everything as well. Absolutely. And you're talking all these enormous extreme things, and all our listeners just want to give up the piss. It's such a choice. You know what I mean? We can learn so much from everything you've just said there. Mind blown.
Absolutely. And I guess that leads us on to one of the final questions is, what advice would you give our listeners, Damien, that are, toying with maybe questioning their relationship with booze and want to improve it, whether that be they're reducing their alcohol intake or they're looking to quit? What advice or tools would you recommend in terms of that mindset? That's what we're really interested in.
So I believe the biggest lie that we're told all our life, and if I could say go back to my 6-year-old self and tell it something, it would be, don't believe them when they tell you it's hard. Everything is easy.
Yes. Love that.
The ripper.
Because everything is. There's nothing that is hard. You've got to put work into things. But it's not like it's hard. Let's have a look in a logical sense. You're drinking too much and you want to stop. You know what? Stop.
Full stop.
That's it. Stop. That's a logical side of it. Just stop. But they listen to everyone else. Oh, it's hard. You can't. You got to wean off it. You got to do this. You know what? Just fucking stop. And that's it. If that's your goal, just get straight to the goal. Like I said, don't worry about the fucking journey of stopping. Just stop.
So if you had to write a book about this, it would just have one page with one word.
The whole fucking one page. So for me, that's the biggest thing. And then also, have a purpose. Have your purpose of what you want in life, and that's what gets you up, and that's what keeps you accountable and keeps you measurable towards what you want to do as well, of why you don't want to drink. So you're not beating yourself up about it, and take all the pressure off. People need to take all the pressure off. It's the biggest thing. There's a big misconception between stress and pressure. Most people, they think that they're stressed, but really they put too much pressure on themselves. They should just drop the pressure and pop up the stress level. Stress is good. I stress myself out physically and mentally all the time. That's how I'm able to achieve things. But I have no pressure on it. I don't beat myself up about it. I don't go, oh shit, if I don't make this paddle, then this and this isn't going to happen. I just go, fuck it, I just make the paddle. I don't even worry about what else can happen. Just go and do it. So I don't have that pressure on. I'd say climbing up a hot air balloon. People are saying to me, what? Oh shit, what happens if you fall? So let's say that's the pressure. What happens if I fall? Well, for me, I just go, oh, I die. But so there's no pressure because I can't think about, oh yeah, you're right. Fuck, what happens if I do fall? I'm going to catch a cloud on the way down. I'll probably see if there's some couple of seagulls. I can grab their legs. I'll aim for a pool or aim for the bushes. What do I need to think about that? All I need to do is put all my energy in to train as hard as I can to get to the top, because that's my objective, get to the top. So why even think about that? Don't have pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
So, and the pressure comes from other people as well. And I don't have the attachment to other people as well. Everyone is welcome to their opinion, but, for them, they're judging it on their own self-limitations as well, what they perceive their own self-limitations are. Now I transform my whole apartment into a gym for specific movements. Like no one trains how I fucking train for these events. So for someone else to say it, and even like the paddling in the Maldives, 95% of the locals there were saying it's impossible. You're about to paddle across this channel that's hard to go across in a boat. It's impossible to do. And I'm like, when did you last get on a paddleboard? Oh, I've never paddleboarded. I'm like, oh, what's your frame of fucking reference then? Who are you to say? Oh, you know, I accept your opinion, but you know, who are you to say that? It's not for me to take on that, you know. I train my ass off and I'm going to go and do this thing. So it's about that, you know, just listen to yourself, trust yourself that you're going to do it. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone of why you don't want to have a drink. Just don't fucking have a drink. And that's as simple as it is.
Keep it simple, stupid. Love that.
Yeah. And if you want one, go and have one. But at the right time, you know, knowing it's not going to fuck up your purpose of what you're going to do. But don't people put that pressure on themselves. Oh, shit, I can't have one. I can't have one. I can't have one. Makes them always think about it that they want to have one.
Yeah.
Because they're going against the grain. You tell someone you can't do something, what are you going to do? You're going to go and do it.
Want it more. Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, if you want one, have one. But you know what? You don't need one because you got shit you got to do.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Mic drop.
Yep.
Oh,
I can relate.
can't relate. Damo. Wow.
This has been more than I had envisaged going into this
Same.
potty. I'm like blown away.
So am I.
So yeah.
Wacky do. Well, we're going to wind it down with the last couple of segments. So we're going to move into rapid fire. Thank you for these. It's unreal. These little rapid fire questions, I've just got 3 of them. They're nice and light and easy. And they were I was channeling what you were talking about when someone asked, what's the worst day, the best day out in the water? You said the worst day on the water is the worst day on the water. And then what's the best day on the water? The best day, like it's the same. Yeah.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. So with that, what's worse? So we're going with what's worst. What's worse, the bee sting or being circled by 21 sharks?
Sharks.
What was that like, just quickly?
Sharks are always worse. The ocean's a different place. People can run like anywhere on land, but when you're on the ocean, it's completely different. You know, I'm all for like people who run across countries and stuff like that and everything. It's awesome. But, you know, when you're on the ocean, it's a completely different thing. You're at the total mercy of it.
Yeah. Frightening. Can't even imagine.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think like the biggest one was a 22-foot white pointer.
Oh,
Fucking big. Jaws was only 24 foot and that was mechanical. So it's nearly as big as Jaws.
Jesus.
It's like a bus driving along the sand.
Yeah.
And I was out there by myself, just on this little fucking board. And at that time, I was just like, just fucking eat me. And I was kind of thinking, how do I get that? If that comes at me, then there's not much I can do. How do I get this over with the quickest way? And I was like, all right, I'm just going to fucking dive into its mouth as quick as I can, eh? Just jump in there and just hang out, I guess. Wait till it poops me out somewhere.
I'm dying. Love that. Just get straight in there. All right. What's worse, sand in your eyes or sand in your crack?
In the crack's pretty fucking annoying, eh?
What's worse, blisters or chafe?
Chafe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's scariest or what's worse, climbing a hot air balloon to get your parachute or entering the bachelorette house?
Bachelorette. 100%.
That was just a bit of fun. And now we're circling. Thank you for that. Now we're moving to phone fuck up with a PH, and we say PH because it's not as offensive.
Meso, just before we wrap up the potty and jump into our last few segments, let's talk about our 2 new sponsors for season 3, starting off with Cinch Skin. I'm a massive fan. You're a massive fan. I've been using their Spray and Glow product. They're a skincare range. For the last 6 or so years I've been using it. I know you're all over their products too, aren't you, Meso?
I am. I'm showcasing them right now.
And the thing about the Cinch Skin is that it's skincare simplified.
Oh,
makes it nice and easy.
Yep. uncomplicated, multi-benefit skincare routine packed with clinically proven ingredients for maximum results, and it's cruelty-free.
We love it. And they have generously given our listeners a whopping 25% off, I should say. The discount code is BFB25. And where do they shop, Meso?
Yes, at www.cinchskin.com. Yep, you'll get amongst it. We love you, Cinch. Thanks for coming on board.
And we've also got
Gut Performance, which you use every single day. It's a prebiotic. And they've given us a discount code as well. It's BFB15 when you go to www.gutperformance.com. I'll just quickly .au. I'll just roll over and tell you the benefits. So peak performance when you're using Gut Performance can help with regularity, bloating, energy, skin, mood, immune system, digestion, and absorption of nutrients and inflammation levels. I've been using it, love it every single day. Will not go a day without it. So thank you, Gut Performance. We love you.
Thank you.
It's a phone fucking with the pH, so we don't give it F with the call or text. Phone fucking with the pH, give it a ring, check it, roll the decks.
I mean, look, I don't regret anything, I guess. But, yeah, I guess I've had some times where I've, like, jumped on social media and had to go at charities.
Oh,
we haven't had that one before.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've had to go at a few charities where people have, like, you know, had their little bits said back, and the next morning, oh shit, delete that, block that person. Yeah.
So it's been done in a private setting, like you've DM'd them or something?
Or on a post.
Oh, I mean, I've done some posts that's led to some things, and yeah, I try to stay away from my phone if I'm having the whiskeys, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a bit hard. Charity, wow. Nothing's off limits.
It's time for the recommendation of the week.
Hey, look, I mean, I always said, everyone, I recommend just doing something new. You know, just go and do it and don't overthink it at all. Just, you know, just go and do it and go back to, you know, we touched on it as well, like with kids, you see them just dancing and everything. And when did that change and why should it change? You know, I think everyone should just go back to that childhood of just going and do shit and see what happens.
That's
That's unreal.
Love it. Keeping it simple, going back to that inner child. Damien Ryder, what are you doing now?
Yeah, where can people
find you?
So I'm in Adelaide. You can find me on my website, damienryder.com, or on Instagram. I'm just doing life coaching down here mainly, like celebrity life coaching, which is kind of fun.
Can you life coach me?
Oh, I was thinking, like, I feel like I've been life coached a little bit today, but I know there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
So, yeah, just doing that and working on a couple of films at the moment, like documentaries that I'm putting out. And, yeah, one of them's a balloon climb. I was just editing. It's funny that you talk about Yes You Can, because I was just editing one of the films yesterday and I'm standing on top of the balloon and I'm like holding up the can like, yes, you can.
So cool.
And drink one of their drinks up on top of the balloon before I jumped off it.
That's incredible.
So
How did that relationship start?
Yeah, with Tyler.
I don't know. We just sort of connected somehow, and then I just had this event coming up, and I thought, you know, this perfect messaging. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Everything, you know. And I just thought, hey, that'd be cool. Like stand on. No one's ever done that. Stood on top of a hot air balloon at 10,000 feet and had a drink and run and jumped off. So hey, let's do this, you know. So yeah, and yes, you can, you know. So that's kind of how it all come about. It all just made sense for me. I don't get just random sponsors. They always have to make sense, or they have to be, you know, aligned with what I'm doing. You know, for me, it's never about the money side of things. It's with sponsors. It's, you know, who they are, what they do, and how does that align with me, and how does that make sense for my audience as well, to be able to buy the products, or for me to endorse those products as well. You know, I've always been pretty morally sound about those things. Even I've been offered more money from different brands, but I just go, well, I don't like those shoes. Okay, you're going to pay your X amount. Yeah, I'd end up wearing other shoes. You know, so I kind of just always just treat myself like that, you know.
Love that.
Have you got any events like in the near or distant future that you're working towards, or is on your, you know, list of things to do? Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of events. There's a good one in July. But actually, there's a good one that's coming up here in 3 weeks. I'm playing my film Heart of the Seat at the Glenelg Cinemas here. So that'll be cool. And that'll be interesting because a lot of the people who will be in the audience are kids I grew up with who didn't know what was going on in the household at that time. Now, a lot of them have watched the film when it was on National Geographic, but to be all together with that and in Glenelg where everything happened as well will be quite special.
Yeah,
so I've got a cool one in July, and then in December is my big one. So I've got like a 15-day one in December, which ends in Glenelg on December 22nd. And that'll be fucking cool.
Oh,
that's
wow.
You can see you up and about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're beaming.
Yeah.
It's going to be, that's going to be cool. And it's, obviously it's targeted messaging and everything. Just to basically look where you're going as like a little teaser into that. It's, look where you're going.
Nice. Wow, we'll definitely be following along.
Yeah.
On your Insta and
absolutely.
Website.
We'll be your new fangirls.
100%.
The finish line.
100%.
Yes, you can.
I love Glenelg. I love Glenelg, so I'm more than happy to fly over.
You've got a little the jetty actually, Brenda.
Yeah, my dad built the jetty at Glenelg.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Fun fact for you.
Amazing. That's cool.
That was about 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Amazing. What date is that film on in Glenelg?
23rd, Tuesday, 23rd of May.
All right. We'll see where we are. I might zip over.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And we'll put that in our show notes as well.
Damien Ryder, what a surprise you were to chat to today. You really brought it all, and we just so appreciate your time. Our listeners are going to get so much from this. I know Breezy and I definitely have. We'll be bouncing off walls, like just feeling life coach. So we just so appreciate your time. You're a very, very busy man, and just being so open and vulnerable with everything. We just can't thank you enough.
Thank you, girls. Yeah, I've enjoyed the chat. It's been fun.
Oh, good.
So
fun. We're open to doing it again. So
circle back.
We'll circle back, maybe 2024.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll check in. But have immensely enjoyed this, and it's been an absolute surprise package, I have to say. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Damien Ryder, thank you so much.
Thanks, girls. Thanks, listeners.
See ya.
Bye.
This podcast is proudly produced by our audio engineer, music extraordinaire, Eric Ladd.
We love you, Eric.